Shannon stormed out after a family argument and showed up at my doorstep at midnight. After crying her heart out, she insisted on repaying my kindness with a gift. The next day, some gorgeous guy picked her up in a McLaren. Shamelessly, I asked, "Any equally hot guys around your boyfriend? Hook me up with one?" She glanced sideways. "Like him? He's yours now." Only later did I discover she just handed me her biological brother. Shannon quarreled with her family again. Sobbing uncontrollably over the phone, she recounted the drama between gasps. I listened, my head foggy from writing through the night. She's always been the spoiled rich princess, clashing with her family weekly. As her longtime friend, I'm numb to it. Yawning, I responded, So your dad insisted on buying that quadrangle mansion you hate. Then what? Then you open the... Sob. I'm... Sob. At your... Sob. Door. What? I jolted awake, leaping up so fast my phone crashed onto the keyboard's enter key, deleting my entire draft. No time for that. I sprinted to open the door. There stood Shannon, crying like an opera heroine, lashes glistening with tears as she blinked up at me. Even a steel-straight girl like me felt my heart soften. I stepped aside. Seriously? Normal crying fits are one thing, but running away? Aren't you afraid? Scared your parents will hunt me down and skin me alive? Remember, her dad is Beijing's richest man. If he discovered his precious daughter inhaling formaldehyde fumes in my dumpy rental? Poof. Goodbye, my epidermis. Who cares? They deserve not finding me. She'd already blown through 3 tissue boxes by my couch. You're ditching home over a mansion? If you dislike it that much, give it to me instead. Bored, I cracked sunflower seeds, teasing her. Of course not. It's my brother. He flew back from abroad and immediately tore into me for dating too many guys. Called me spoiled. But with my looks and money? Why shouldn't I date the entire city? Totally. Absolutely. I nodded like a bobblehead. Given her wealth, I'd juggle 5 boyfriends too. Anyway, Bailey, I'm staying here tonight. They'll learn Shannon Shepherd has spine. My snacking froze mid-crack, my grin vanished. My shoebox apartment had 0 guest space. Hesitantly, I offered, maybe I'll book you into the hotel next door? We can't possibly share. What's the issue? We're both women. Scared I'll jump you? But Shannon spent the whole night ranting about her brother instead of sleeping. My consciousness floated away until I nearly dozed off. Then the realization hit, I'd missed my writing deadline again. No bonus this month. I covered my face, agonized. Eventually cried out. Shannon mistook my distress for concern. Sweetie, don't worry about me anymore. Oh no, these tears are for myself. Sorry to ruin your night. Tell me what you want, anything. I'll get it. Grandly, she declared, name any spot in Beijing, I'll buy it for you. Standing triumphantly on my sofa, dawn light spilled over her waterfall straight hair. Panicked, I checked my phone. Holy crap, 8 a.m. I took her for breakfast. Just outside the greasy noodle joint, a flashy McLaren gleamed beside the dumpster, my first ever sighting of the luxury cars I only write about. I shamelessly gawked for 5 full minutes. What's more important is that there's a hot guy standing by the car. Shannon followed my gaze, then turned to me saying, he came to pick me up. I gotta go now, baby. I'll come find you later to hang out, 'kay? She started walking toward the hottie, and surprisingly, I'd never seen this guy before. Shannon hadn't mentioned him either, probably a new boyfriend. TSK. This one's actually so fine it's tear-jerking. Usually I scoff at all the guys Shannon dates, but this time I couldn't help but admit she finally stepped up her game. So I grabbed her arm. Does your boyfriend have any friends this hot? Hook me up with one. You like him? Girl, you actually caught feelings for once. Shannon seemed shocked, raising her voice playfully. I'm not trying to move in on your man, though, I quickly clarified, waving my hands. Shannon flashed a sly grin. Relax. No biggie, you want him? He's yours, haha. Wait, seriously? Don't be polite. It's not like he's my only option. So. He was just an escort, Shannon ordered. She never hires just one, always books 7 or 8 at a time. This time was clearly no exception. No wonder he looked inhumanly perfect. If Shannon paid for him, why not enjoy it? I suddenly got all bold, strutting beside her like I owned the place. Before Shannon could speak up to the guy, I whistled like a total creep, throwing on my sleaziest act. Hey handsome, how much for a night? I'll book you for a month. The guy, previously expressionless, frowned like I'd ruined his day. Not thrilled, I tugged Shannon's sleeve. This one's got the looks but zero chill. What's his problem? What are you talking about? The guy stared me down. Shannon glanced at him, made a sharp TSK, and covered my mouth, whispering frantically, "Shut up. Please. Just go home, I'm begging you." She shoved me backward. I wondered why she suddenly acted so reserved. As I walked away, I yelled wistfully over my shoulder, "Make sure those abs are well defined, handsome. I like some texture. Are you insane? Zip it already." Furious, Shannon stormed over and punched my arm. "When I want to mess around, you're always so serious. Where'd this audacity come from?" I stuck my tongue out at her and skipped home. God, being shameless in front of a hot escort really hit different, so thrilling it was unreal. Glancing back, I saw the hottie shoving Shannon into the sports car before peeling out of the alley, leaving me staring at the sleek rear end of the supercar. Shannon went radio silent for days after that. I holed up finishing my draft like a zombie. Hoping to unwind together, I tried calling, but her line was dead. So I hit up our usual bar solo, supposedly taking the edge off but secretly hoping to bump into that sculpted escort again. Abs. Solid. Wanna touch. The bartender here knew me well. Spotting me, he beamed, "Long time no see. What can I get you both tonight?" Just me. Shannon didn't come. That's normal. I'd be shocked if she showed. Grinning ear to ear, he slid a cocktail over. "How come? You didn't know? Mr. Shepard's back. He owns this bar, no way Shannon would dare come now." "Mr. Shepard?" I sipped my drink. "Her brother? Smart, Emma. And he's here tonight. Obviously she'd avoid this place." He gave me a thumbs up before tending to other guests. Nursing my drink, boredom crept in until I finally texted Shannon, "What was the escort's ID number from last time?" No reply came through. I had no choice but to dive into the crowd for amusement. That search proved disastrous. I spotted Henry Shepard, the McLaren model guy from last time, sitting smack in the middle of a semicircular sofa. His long legs were crossed, one hand draped casually over the backrest, gaze lazy. The hand holding his glass had strikingly defined knuckles, his lips curved into a faint smile. Under the colorful ambient lighting, he radiated an aura both aloof and icy cold. Such a uniquely detached presence for a model, almost didn't seem like one. Even with a popular starlet sitting beside him, writhing like a snake trying to get his attention, he remained utterly indifferent, completely unmoved. I couldn't help marveling inwardly. A model with that much discipline? Rare. Truly rare. Before long, the beauty gave up and left. A shot of vodka later, the buzz fueled my audacity. I walked over, slapped his shoulder heavily, and leaned in. "Handsome, booked tonight? If not, how about spending the night in your big sister's arms?" He lifted his eyes to me, annoyed. Thinking he might not recognize me, I inched closer. Our noses nearly touched. Oh, this felt a little too intimate. Emboldened, I tugged his tie, my breath hot against his ear. "Outfit's looking sharp tonight. Put that same effort into the bedroom." As he started to speak, I pressed my finger to his lips. "Just answer me, are you up for it tonight or not?" "Tonight. Not happening." He shoved me hard onto the sofa, standing up. His tailored suit strained against his form. He shot me a glance, his ears unmistakably flushed crimson, voice rough as he gritted out, "And never will." Disappointed, but fueled by the alcohol, the filter remained off. "Fine, no sleep. Not even a feel? You want to test that?" "A little." "Dream on." The handsome Henry ignored me. He straightened his clothes, messed up by my tugging, and strode away through the throng. Only when I walked out of the bar did I finally get Shannon's message. Shannon stormed out after a family argument and showed up at my doorstep at midnight. After crying her heart out, she insisted on repaying my kindness with a gift. The next day, some gorgeous guy picked her up in a McLaren. Shamelessly, I asked, "Any equally hot guys around your boyfriend? Hook me up with one?" She glanced sideways. "Like him? He's yours now." Only later did I discover she just handed me her biological brother. Tears welling, I typed back, "But he's got his money for company. Won't feel lonely a single day." I fled the bar in disgrace. Home barely minutes, and there Shannon stood at my door, crying like a rain-drenched lily. "Again?" She nodded. Ever since discovering my place as an emotional escape valve, it was always 0 times or countless times. We fought. I'll never forgive Henry. He actually said my thinking was twisted. Infuriating. He's not entirely wrong though, I teased, feeling a pang of my own guilt. He said my thinking was twisted because I had friends like you. My smile vanished. He knows? Shannon nodded. But don't worry. He's not that scary. At the very least, he definitely won't threaten your career. Will he threaten me finding other models though? I asked, only half joking. Career's not that big a deal. What I earn is peanuts anyway, can't buy a house with that. The main thing is that I'm a bit of a flirt, and that's something that can't be denied. Yes, because I can't find a way out. The next morning, that McLaren parked right downstairs at my place on time. "Hey, here to pick you up." "Hurry back," it said. When I was sleeping last night, Shannon kept whining about the bed being too hard. It bothered me so much that I couldn't fall asleep. I was so angry that I really wanted to kick her back to that cold villa. "I'm not going back." I dragged her downstairs, saying, "Go back quickly, young lady. I wish your family harmony and all things going well. Stop arguing. I'm so sleepy that I'm about to lose my mind." "Then come with me. I can't sleep without you beside me. And don't you like him? Here, take him. Get him out of here. You two should be together." Shannon grabbed me and loudly pleaded. Looking past her, I saw Henry standing beside the car, raising his eyebrows at me. He was still as cold as ever, even a bit disdainful in his eyes. But now, even if you gave me 10 guts, I wouldn't dare to mess with him. I averted my eyes, clasped my hands together, and quietly begged Shannon to let me off. No, I really don't dare. "And keep your voice down." I used all my strength to pry Shannon's hands off me. Our actions completely caught the attention of the guy over there. He strode over with his long legs. As soon as he got close, Shannon behaved herself and stood still obediently. I took a step back and stood behind Shannon. "Stop dawdling and go home," he said to Shannon, then looked at me. He was still so handsome. In my panic, I blushed. "I can go home with you, but I have a request." After saying that, she paused and turned to look at me. I was so panicked that I shook my head vigorously at her. "My dear young lady, don't drag me along. I don't dare to have any thoughts about your brother. Let my friend work at your company." Work! If it weren't so embarrassing to cry in the street, I really would have burst into tears. I was on the verge of tears. I hadn't dared to tell her that I'd been unemployed for over a month, but she knew. And she still remembered to help me find a job at this time. "Okay." Henry replied very straightforwardly and casually glanced at me. Then I got in Henry's sports car with Shannon. The two of them were still in the middle of a cold war from their argument, so naturally, I was sitting in the middle. Shannon chattered away about the gossip. When she got excited, Shannon slapped her thigh and loudly said, "Bailey, let me tell you, get him and control him. You protect me so I won't have to be lectured by him by my ear in the future." I nervously rubbed my hands on my pants and secretly peeked at Henry out of the corner of my eye, but unexpectedly, our eyes met. "Who grabs your ear?" Henry's voice came from my left. "Don't you know who?" "Sean. Non." Before Shannon could say the next word, I quickly covered her mouth. I didn't want to be thrown out on the roadside with her, nor did I want to lose my job before I even got it. Fortunately, we'd already reached the Shepherd family's place. Otherwise, I really would have wanted to jump out of the car. As soon as we got out of the car, Shannon saw her little dog and immediately ran after it. Suddenly, only Henry and I were left in the car. He propped one hand on the steering wheel and turned his head to stare at the nervous me. I want to know how you're going to get me and then control me. Shannon was just talking nonsense. Don't take it to heart. I suddenly felt that the car was unbearably stuffy. Okay, you'd better really have no such thoughts. I gasped sharply. Then report for work tomorrow. What position? What will my duties be? I asked warily. It couldn't be that he wants me as his secretary, could he? He was well aware of my previous improper thoughts. Becoming his secretary probably wouldn't let me survive past day 2. Be my wife. The contractual agreement kind. Me. Had revealing his single status offended him? I curled my lips, stifling my urge to laugh at him, and lowered my head. $200,000 a month. How about it? Didn't you need a job? This position shouldn't disappoint you. Deal. The moment $200,000 left his lips, any hesitation vanished from my mind. How many words would I have to write to earn that kind of money? I couldn't even imagine it. Henry proved why he was a business tycoon. The contract he drafted was excruciatingly detailed, spanning over 30 pages. After my eyes started to blur skimming through it, I lost patience and texted him frowny face boss, 3-year term, right? No predatory clauses I need to worry about? What do you mean predatory? You think I'd trap you for life? He shot back instantly. I rubbed my nose. Well, this lifeline wasn't entirely unacceptable. Then there shouldn't be any issues. I'll find some time to sign it soon. Make it quick. All right, deal. Then. Good night. Honey. Only after hitting send did I realize the typo and frantically recalled the message. But he'd already seen it, determined to return the awkwardness frowny face mind your words. I'm not your honey yet. Typo, boss. Sorry about that. Right after signing the contract, Henry and I rushed to get our marriage license. When Shannon found out, she showered me with praise. Oh my God, my queen, my Bailey, my goddess. You actually managed to snag Henry? Holy shit! Do you have any idea? None of the women who've tried to get near him all these years ended up well. Truly one of a kind, only you could pull this off. TSK, TSK, TSK. Next time he yells at me, ban him from the bed, make him kneel beside it. Bailey, your charm is unmatched. 3-2, you're truly something else. Shannon kept chattering beside me while I scratched my head. Bound by the terms of our agreement, I certainly couldn't tell her it was all a facade. I'd assumed someone like me marrying Henry would be frowned upon by his family, but surprisingly, both his parents took quite a liking to me. They constantly praised me, especially his mother. I'd never have imagined she was actually a devoted fan of my novels, perpetually pestering me for spoilers about unpublished chapters. Everyone seemed perfectly satisfied. Except for Henry. To maintain the charade in front of his parents, every time Henry arrived home, I played the doting wife, rushing to greet him at the door with a big, phony smile, even pretending affectionately to loop my arm through his. As I bent to change his shoes, he abruptly pushed me away. I'll do it myself. During meals, when I peeled shrimp for him, he plopped them back into my bowl. Stop. I don't want it. When I cooked lunches to deliver to his office, he'd toss it out after just a bite or two. Quit bringing them. This cycle repeated enough that his family started picking up on the dissonance. Henry's mother asked me, "Is this really how you two normally interact?" I managed a stiff smile. Yes. Eventually, I ditched the act. After all, even real marriages go through phases where couples absolutely can't stand each other, stages filled with gritted teeth and outbursts of "who do you think you're talking to?" I figured we might as well speed run to that phase. Being married meant we were forced to share the same space at home anyway. But he seemed quite disdainful of me, barely speaking to me and sometimes telling me to keep my distance. What? Afraid I'd grope his abs? Thankfully, the room was spacious enough, and the bed was huge and empty, so I could easily maintain my distance from him. At night, I loved snuggling under the covers and writing, but he was restless in his sleep and occasionally kicked me. Fine, even in his dreams, he still wanted to hit me. I didn't back down either, flipping over to kick him back. Only when he was asleep could I be so bold, but today, unluckily, I kicked him awake. Worse, I accidentally kicked him in an unmentionable spot. By the light from my phone screen, I saw the impatient look in his eyes. Not sleeping? What are you trying to do? He reached out to turn on the bedside lamp and pulled the covers off my head. I sat up, scrambling to defend myself in a whisper. You kicked me first. Seems like we're not suited to sharing a bed. He swiftly got out of bed and went to sleep in the guest room. The moment he left, I rolled around freely and joyously on the bed. Finally, I was alone. What a wonderful thing it was to have a big bed all to myself. I giggled and rolled back and forth, even thinking of calling Shannon over to sleep with me, since Shannon had mentioned several times wanting to sleep with me. But each time, Henry shot her a glare to shut it down. The next instant, he walked back in and, seeing how happy I looked, frowned and asked, "Are you that excited?" "A little." Ignoring me, he came over, lifted the covers, and lay back down. The guest room's uncomfortable. Huh? Then I'll go over there, won't bother you. Mr. Fancy Pants is so picky. The mattress costs tens of thousands, how could it be uncomfortable? After saying that, I started to get up, but he grabbed me and turned off the light. Darkness covered my vision, and a hand pulled me close. A muffled voice came from under the covers. Sleep. Lately, Henry had been working overtime every day, coming home well after midnight. The rest of the household was long asleep, but every time he got back, he found me still awake and writing late into the night. Recently, I was working on the heart-wrenching breakup scene between the main couple, pondering how to make it really tear-jerking. So, I posted on a forum asking for advice on capturing that emotion. Today, while browsing comments, someone suggested breaking up with a boyfriend or divorcing a husband to really get it. I quietly liked the comment and replied, I'd like to try that. Good advice, but it won't work for me. No way I'm divorcing my high-earning husband anytime soon. Why aren't you asleep? Before I could finish speaking, Henry's voice came from behind me, startling me into shutting my laptop. Afraid he'd scold me, I hastily made up an excuse. I was worried about you, couldn't sleep. Pfft. You don't look like you're worried about me at all. Don't I? I think I do. I'm so worried about you I've got dark circles under my eyes. Worried about me? Then why didn't you send a single message to check in? He loosened his tie and sat next to me. The meal I cooked for you? You didn't eat a bite, so I doubt you miss my greetings. I caught the smell of wine wafting off him. Clearly he was drunk. And isn't it in our contract not to bother each other unless absolutely necessary? Let's delete that clause. He nuzzled against me, and the wine scent grew thicker in the air between us. That food was terrible. You wouldn't leave me just because I didn't eat it, would you? His eyes drooped, welling with tears, softening his usually cold and stern demeanor like a pitiful puppy begging for affection. Who said I was leaving you? I was puzzled. The moment he finished speaking, he buried his head in my lap and fell asleep. The next morning, he woke up and went to work like nothing had happened, but my curiosity was itching like crazy. I grabbed Shannon to tell me everything. After thinking for the longest time, she finally exclaimed, "Oh. I remember now. He did have this first love back then, but I don't think they ever actually got together. The girl went abroad for studies later. It's those unrequited feelings that linger the longest." I clicked my tongue and nodded. They were high school classmates, the younger daughter of the Lee family's old chairman, right? Emma? Emma, the new actress recently in the news for her illustrious background? So your brother was into stunning beauties like that. No wonder he stayed single all these years. What? No. He likes you best. You guys are a certified, real couple. Ever since Henry and I got married, Shannon has become the captain of our ship, constantly telling me about some new sweet moment she'd spotted between us. For instance, she saw Henry glancing up from his work desk, staring absent-mindedly at me while I played with the cat in the yard. Or she noticed that among the gifts Henry brought back from business trips, mine were always the most unique. Or how Henry never takes off his wedding ring. Or the way he often asked her what I liked best, and what I was actually doing staying up so late at night. I never noticed any of that stuff myself. This Emma stuff is all hearsay. You guys are the real deal, Shannon stated firmly. Impossible, I shot back. I opened my phone and showed her the live stream of Emma's current offline movie promotion event. Henry was sitting right there in the front row of the audience, watching her. The first love always has that special hold, you know? No way. You know me, I only ship the main OTP. Shannon rushed over, covering my mouth loudly. Look! Emma isn't even glancing his way. They've got zero chance. Henry came home late that night, and I was still awake. After sending off my latest manuscript chapter, I lay sprawled on the bed, plotting storylines. He sat down beside me and suddenly grabbed my limp hand dangling off the edge. His icy skin made me jolt and flip over. Seeing it was him, I scrambled to sit up, but he didn't let go. When I tried to pull back, his grip tightened. Why aren't you resting? Waiting for me again? He asked. And no, I'm reading. How studious. Reading air? His tone was dry. You should go shower. It's really late. He obediently got up to shower. By the time he slipped under the covers, I still hadn't slept. My head was buzzing with an elaborate scheme to help him win back his first love. All those years writing romance novels, stitching together all those grand gestures from chasing the one who got away plots. There's no way he couldn't win back Emma. Sure, I might lose several chunks of that 200,000. But oh well. Think big. Facilitating a high society love story would be a pretty epic feat. And if he got happy enough to cut me, his matchmaker, a cool 10 million? Getting more excited by the second, I boldly reached out and patted his back. Hey, boss? Want to win Emma back? I can help. At that, he flipped over to face me instantly. I recoiled, startled, barely making out his incredulous expression in the dim lamplight. Well? So? My plan? I'd say a solid 90% chance of success. Maybe we can try. MMPH, before I could finish, he pulled me into his arms, crushing me against his burning chest. My breathing hitched unconsciously. Sleep. Sleep? Your wife's about to bolt. Listen to me first. I squirmed excitedly in his embrace. Once Emma becomes a bigger star, getting back together is impossible. My wife isn't going anywhere. Go to sleep. He tightened his hold. Seriously? Not even considering? I'll give you a friends and family discount after. Not considering. I can do the pursuing myself. All right, what a decisive man. The next day, Shannon and I were giving the dog a bath in the yard when the maid brought over an invitation. It explicitly invited me, Henry, and Shannon. Does she know me? Then she must know about Henry's wife. Your wedding wasn't low-key at all. Screw you. I splashed water on her. Hey, hey, hey. Not teasing you. You're part of the Shepherd family. Isn't inviting you only natural? That evening, I asked Henry if he wanted to go. He blurted out, no way. But I did, that cake of hers looked so good. Henry raised an eyebrow and sharply said 3 words, big glutton. In the end, Shannon and I went together. I wanted cake and to get a feel for Emma's attitude, while Shannon was out scouting for hot guys. As soon as we arrived, we saw Emma in the center of the party, dazzling in a gold haute couture gown, chatting with Henry decked out in a sharp suit. He seemed overjoyed. I'd never seen him smile so happily. Turns out, when you're facing someone you like, you can't hide your delight. Shannon tried to pull me over to say hi, but I made an excuse and slipped away. In the Lee family's yard, there was a huge rock pond, and I strolled along the little bridge over the lake. With a warm evening breeze, I leaned against the wooden railing to watch the goldfish when someone approached from behind. Turning around, I saw a guy who seemed vaguely familiar but not quite memorable. I wondered if he was one of Shannon's exes. The guy spoke up. Don't you remember me? Bailey. Michael? I smiled at him. Yeah, I remember. Good. He smiled back and leaned on the railing beside me. Never thought we'd run into each other here again. I used to have a crush on Michael for 5 years, from senior year of high school through college graduation. I followed his trail to Beijing, but he never acknowledged my feelings. I worked hard, thinking if I could match his success, he might notice me. But no. Later, it took me ages to realize there was this huge gap between us: power, money. He introduced me to a girl he'd known for 10 days as his girlfriend. She was the daughter of an executive at his company. I knew we'd never be possible. I wrote a bunch of campus stories inspired by him, never imagining one would end this way. I gave the characters happy endings while my own life was a mess. But I know reality stopping here was merciful enough. For years, I didn't see him again until today. Looking at him, I only felt discomfort all over. He was nothing like the person in my memories, completely different. Slightly paunchy frame, shrewd eyes behind gold-rimmed glasses, his words full of double talk. Turns out, even your first love can die, whether from dried-up imagination or seeing what he is now. Heard you got married. Good. Can't you say anything besides good? I snapped at him. Back when I liked him, I always spoke carefully. Not now. I don't like him anymore, so I finally speak like a real person. Michael said nothing, just smiled slightly. Thanks for coming, I didn't think you would. What do you mean? I frowned, and a suspicion grew infinitely in my mind. It was me who invited you here. He took out an invitation, which confirmed my suspicion. You and Emma are husband and wife. My heart sank. Henry was completely heartbroken this time, and I couldn't earn the matchmaker's fee. My face turned deathly pale, and I inexplicably empathized with Henry's heartbreak. Bailey, don't be sad. Even if I don't get married, I won't be with you. You're married too, right? Give up on me as soon as possible and live a good life. However, if you want to have some excitement, I'm not opposed to it. After all, the wealthy families are so chaotic. His eyes moved down, and his hand was about to rest on my shoulder. His blatant gesture made me feel uncomfortable. Oh, so all that was just to humiliate me. Just as I was about to organize my words to retort, a hand slapped on Michael's outstretched hand with a crisp sound, and Henry's voice came first. My wife doesn't fancy you either. She's always looked down on worthless things. I turned around, and he reached out and pulled me behind him. How did Emma get by in foreign countries all these years that she could take a fancy to a scumbag like you? Who are you? Do you think you're something just because you've climbed up? Don't you even recognize me? He's Henry. I reminded him from behind. Michael's face turned pale, his legs trembled, and he fled in a hurry. I hadn't even had a bite of the cake when Henry took me away. He drove very fast all the way, but I still had that piece of cake on my mind. What's your relationship with him? Classmates. I answered truthfully. He's not a good person. I nodded in agreement. Now it seems that he really isn't. Emma is suing him for divorce. Really? I was inexplicably excited when I heard this news. Didn't this mean that Henry had another chance? Why are you so happy? There was a strange tone in Henry's voice. He seemed dissatisfied with my reaction. No. I touched my nose, feeling a bit guilty. Still thinking about that guy? What am I inferior to him? You even planned to abandon me for him. No, who's thinking about him? With a boss as good as you, how could I think about others? Boss? He repeated my words, emphasizing each syllable. Is there something wrong with this word? I looked at him in confusion. Fine, if you want to call me boss, then boss it is. Why did you come to Emma's birthday party? To eat the cake. I rubbed my hands and couldn't help swallowing my saliva. I hadn't even had a bite when you pulled me away. Just to eat the cake? He asked suspiciously. I also wanted to find out Emma's attitude towards you, by the way. I answered honestly, afraid that if I didn't, I'd be in big trouble when he brought it up later. Thank you for caring about me so much, but things between us aren't what you think. I came here because I heard you were coming. I clearly told Shannon not to bring you here. What on earth are you two up to? Michael is a shady guy. He's caused a lot of trouble for the Lee family, both openly and secretly. Recently, Emma asked me to help investigate him. When I found out that you knew him, I had a bad feeling when I saw his invitation to you. Sure enough, he lured you here. When you were by the Moo Lake with him, there were several cameras hidden in the surrounding bamboo forest. He wanted to seduce you and use you to create a scandal between the Shepherd and Lee families and stir up a feud between our two families. After hearing this, I was filled with horror. I apologized in a trembling voice. Sorry, I didn't know he'd be there. It doesn't matter. Emma has already collected all the evidence. After the divorce, she'll send him to jail. So, you guys. We're just friends, and our families have been friends for generations. Besides, I'm married now. Can you think about it? We're husband and wife. Why do you always take their side? Well, the matchmaker's fee is really gone this time. I'm a bit sad. Still craving cake? I'll take you to buy some. He drove me to the city and found a cake shop. After getting my favorite cake, in the car, he held the cake in front of me and suddenly leaned close to my ear and said, "Happy birthday. Make a wish." Only then did I suddenly realize why I'd been so eager for cake today. It was my birthday. I hadn't celebrated my birthday for years. Sometimes I didn't even remember it. Shannon always gave me birthday presents along with New Year gifts because I'd said, I've forgotten too. Let's just celebrate it during the new year. Looking at your ID, it's today, right? You don't have to eat someone else's cake on your own birthday. I stared blankly at him. For some reason, the cake he bought tasted especially good. And I even felt a bit reluctant to share him with others. When Emma found me, I was still playing mahjong with the ants in the alley. My lease on the rented house had expired, and I'd come back to move. But at the alley entrance, I heard the landlady shouting that they were one person short. So I didn't move and just kept playing mahjong game after game. She took me to a quiet place. It was the first time I'd faced her directly. To be honest, I was a bit nervous. Bailey, right? She crossed her arms, towering over me in her high-heeled shoes. Tell me, how much to leave Henry? My eyes widened. What a good deal! I quickly calculated in my mind how much Henry could give me in 3 years. Then I doubled the amount and quoted my ideal price, $21 million. I'll give you a discount as a friendly gesture. $20 million. Who's your friend? Emma sneered. $21 million it is. $21 million, I quickly corrected. Fine, fine, fine. I'll give it to you. But can you go have a meal with me now? I took her to a restaurant on the street. When she sat down, her first words were an apology. Sorry about what happened with Michael last time. Is that all? It's not your fault. You don't have to apologize for him. And one more thing. On Henry's behalf, you don't have to go through so much trouble to make me and him. He hasn't had a woman around him for so many years. It's not because of what the outside world says about waiting or not. It's simply that he hasn't met someone he likes. Since he married you, he must have feelings for you. So, my $20 million. 20 what million? You thick-headed person. Emma stood up across the table and tapped me on the forehead. He likes you. Got it? She took off her sunglasses and glanced at me. One is too afraid to say it, and the other is too afraid to love. I'm even starting to ship you too. He wasn't going to come on your birthday at first. But when he heard you'd be there, he changed his mind. He was looking for you all the time at the banquet hall. Then he saw you talking to Michael and got so jealous he was about to lose it. Thinking about how much he's helped me since I returned to the country, I'll help him this time. Shannon told me a lot about you too. Even an outsider like her noticed, but why didn't you? It's not that I didn't notice. If he were a male model, I'd have pounced on him long ago. But we're just bound by a contract. I'm quite committed to contracts. When I got home, it suddenly started to rain heavily, accompanied by thunder. I stood on the balcony, sighing about how changeable the weather was, but there was no response. Asleep? I turned my head and saw Henry had curled up under the covers. Are you feeling unwell? The lump of quilt shook a little. Suddenly, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled outside. The person under the quilt shrank further inward. I realized this man, Henry, was actually afraid of thunder. I gently patted the quilt and found a pair of earplugs to hand to him. He threw the earplugs out again. Helplessly, I asked him how to not be afraid. He didn't respond. But outside, the thunder, lightning, and rain continued, so he wouldn't be able to sleep tonight. I saw his forehead covered in tiny beads of sweat and tears like little pearls on his face. Scared to tears? I quickly found a towel to wipe him clean. I softly hummed a little tune, trying to soothe his fear. If you're too scared, you can listen to me tell you a story. In the dim light, I flashed a seductive smile. Originally, I wanted to tell a scary story to distract him, but out of humanitarianism, I decided to tell him a dirty joke to cheer him up. It was said there was a beauty named Bailey. One day, she suddenly became rich. She hired 8 male models in one night. The male models took turns taking off their clothes in front of her, revealing. Suddenly, a hand reached out from under the quilt and grabbed my wrist. Try picking one, and see what happens. Not afraid anymore? I raised an eyebrow and smiled lightly. A bolt of lightning struck down, illuminating Henry's face, half in shadow and half in light. Afraid, but more afraid that you'll really leave me. He flipped over and pinned me down, saying hoarsely, "There's a ready-made male model right here, want to try it?" Not tonight, and not ever in the future. I mimicked the tone he used when he spoke to me that night at the bar, and said the words he used to reject me back then, "Fine, it can be this lifetime." That night, what came one after another wasn't just the thunder. He wasn't afraid of thunder at all. What he feared was me choosing Emma's 20 million and leaving him. Hiding under the quilt and sobbing, afraid I'd see. After the passion subsided, he leaned close to my ear, his voice seductive. "This time, between me and 20 million, how do you plan to choose? Can't I have both? I'm greedy, I reflect, and next time I dare." "Of course you can, but the contract will have to be signed for a lifetime." "A lifetime it is."